Hey guys! For today's video, I am going to be doing more tie-dye, but not just any tie-dye. I'm going to be tie-dyeing cotton yarn. Now, a few months ago, you may remember that I tie-dyed, or just regular dyed, cotton yarn for the first time, and I had some issues with it. For those of you who are new, I had bought Lion's brand 24/7 cotton, specifically the cotton that they were selling as part of a collaboration with Rit Dye. And this yarn had already been taken out of its skein shape, stuff like this, and turned into a hank, which is basically just yarn wrapped around over on itself over and over again. And then to make transport easy, they kind of twist it up in a way that makes it almost look like a braid. And for this collab with Rit Dye, they did that so you don't have to do that step. For that yarn, I had used Tulip brand dye, which is a tie-dye kit. And I had a lot of issues because I had no instructions, just a short video on the Lion brand website. The packaging had nothing on it for the yarn, the packaging for the yarn. And so I just went with what I knew and some research that I had done that really didn't say anything other than having the yarn be wet and doing whatever. I even found some people who used, a tie-dye kit to dye yarn, but nowhere did they say that the yarn didn't want to be wet or whatever. Basically what happened is, I don't know if the Lion brand yarn was treated with something, but it really did not want to get wet. I left it in a sink full of water, hot water, for about 10 minutes, and some of them were just not wet. They literally came out feeling perfectly dry. And I realized that when I started dyeing it because the dye was just beating right off of it and not soaking into the fiber at all. In the end, it did turn out okay. I really liked how it looked. I can put some pictures here of what the yarn looked like after I had finished winding it on my winder. And then I ended up crocheting with it, and I really enjoyed crocheting with it. I made a shawl. Since I knew I liked crocheting with it, and I knew how to improve next time, I really wanted to do more yarn dyeing. The difference that I was not going to buy the Lion brand Rit Dye collab yarn because the cotton yarn, it came in two styles, cotton and wool, and both of them were a natural color. So the cotton yarn was kind of an off-white color. And the colors that I used for that one were a lot of greens, including some dark greens and brown. So it being an off-white didn't make it look bad or anything like that. I quite like how it looked. But this time I really wanted a bright white yarn. And I don't like the prepackaged 24/7 cotton from Lion brand. So I wanted to kind of look at some of the other cotton yarns that are available. I really wanted to look at it in person, to look at it, feel it, see if there was one that I liked more than the other. The only issue is that Michael's, being the only craft store now in my area, doesn't sell any brands of cotton yarn other than their own. I really wanted to see what Lily's Sugar and Cream looked like. I've heard good things about that cotton yarn, but to not be able to see it, to see if it was like a bright white or like a slightly off white, I wanted to just see it in person, feel it, and make a decision. But because Michael's does not sell it in stores, my only option was to go with Loops and Thread, which is fine. It is a very bright white yarn. It's relatively soft, and hopefully I won't have any issues with it. Since this is a pre-skeined yarn, I will have to turn it into a hank myself, but that's okay because I already own a Swift. I bought one to help with caking up the yarn last time. Originally, I wasn't going to buy many of them. They're very small. They're only 2.5 ounces or 120 yards. So I really didn't know what I could make, and I didn't want to buy 8, 10, 12 of them to try and get enough yarn for something. Last time I bought 8 hanks, and that was a lot of yarn, and they were bigger hanks. They were, I think they were 3.4 or 3.5 ounces. So there was a lot more yarn there. And I ended up getting a very large shawl out of it, so that was good. But because I didn't want to spend a lot of money on yarn, I spent a lot of money on that yarn. I didn't want to do that again. So I thought I would get maybe 2 or 3 if they were larger. But since these ones are pretty small, I ended up buying 6 of them. I had a Michael's gift card I got for Christmas, so I was able to buy 6 of them. So I have 6 of these skeins, but the first thing that I have to do is turn them into hanks that I can more easily dye. All right, I got my Swift set up. I'm gonna have to stand up because this isn't designed to like be an automatic thing or have like a handle like my winder does. So I'm just gonna kind of rotate it myself. I'm just gonna rotate it myself with my hand while I hold on to the other skein. Yeah, oh, and I have a binder clip to clip the end to a point of the Swift. And I also have some white acrylic yarn to tie it off in a couple of places. Oops. Tie it off in a couple of places so it doesn't like completely fall apart on me. And I'll be able to tell what is acrylic and what is cotton at the end because it takes the dye differently. All right, I'm gonna turn my mic off and I'm just gonna put on a video while I do this. And now we're gonna head down to the kitchen. Okay, so I put the yarn in the sink, and I wish I had my camera when I did it because it immediately soaked up the water. So I didn't have to let it sit for very long, but because I was in the middle of making lunch when I did this, I let it sit while I ate lunch. So it's been probably closer to an hour. Yeah, because I did this at noon, and it's now 1 o'clock. But yeah, so we're going to take these out. I think I'm going to try and squeeze out some of the water, but not all of it. And then put them in the pans. For those of you who are new here, these are the pans that I use to dye yarn in. They're just from the grocery store, you know, the kinds that you would take to a function or whatever. Because I am trying to kind of like replicate what people do when they professionally dye yarn. So they're going to go in here, 3 each, and hopefully it won't be too much, but since they're fully saturated, I don't see having as many issues this time as I did last time. So let me get my camera set up on its tripod. All right, the water was as hot as it can go when I filled it, but it's obviously cooled off some. I'm going to drain the water and then run these under the hot water again just to... I added salt, an unspecified amount of salt, because I know that salt helps with dyes sticking. Since this isn't something that I can wash in the washer, which I guess it's kind of a similar process, I added I just kind of poured salt into the sink while the faucet was running. I've used salt. I've tea stained before, and I've used salt in that to help with the color of the tea sticking to fabrics. I'm not sure how wet I want these to be because I don't, things are different this time. So I'll do a light squeeze. When I was putting these on the Swift, I tried to make the Swift be open roughly 24 inches because these pans are 24 inches. And I didn't want them to be too big because that was one of the issues I had last time. The hanks were so long that I had to fold them over on themselves. It also didn't help that the fiber didn't take up any water. I think the Lion Brand yarn was treated with something, even though these were hanks specifically for dyeing. Now, the colors that I want to do, I can't remember if I mentioned already. I want to have it be a really bright yarn, and I want it to be greens and yellows only. So I have already pre-selected my colors. Got yellow, lemonade, tangerine. I used this for a t-shirt to see how yellow or orange it is. It's not that orange. Tangerine. We got mint, lime green, and green. Now, just in case I need more, I'll hold off making more than that. I don't think I'll need, I hope I don't need 8 bottles worth of dye because it's less yarn than last time. So 6 should be okay, but we'll see. Okay, so I filled all of them up to the top, and what I want to go for is kind of it's variegated obviously, but to kind of have, when I'm dyeing it like this, stripes. Hopefully, that's what I wanted to do last time, but it didn't really work out that way. So we're just gonna go for it. Yeah. I got them wrapped up, and last time I let the yarn sit for 6 hours, It is 1:45. I would like to rinse these tonight so they can dry overnight so I can wind them and show you guys tomorrow. Because I don't feel like waiting until tomorrow because I want to do some other things this week for videos. But yeah, so I might at some point flip them. Can actually, I don't know how I can see it on camera. I see I missed a spot here on this lime green section. That tangerine turned out way more orange, but I know it rinses out to more of a yellow. So I'll probably see you guys tonight when I go to rinse these. Okay, so it's the next day. It's actually nighttime because I checked on the yarn around 1 o'clock this afternoon and it was still very damp. I don't remember having this issue last time when I did it the same way. I put it on my top-down mount, spaced out, and by the next day the yarn was dry, but today it wasn't. So I didn't feel like waiting around. I didn't know what would be the best way to get it to air dry, and it would take longer than a day anyway. And like I had said yesterday, I really wanted to get it done by today. So what I ended up doing is I took them and I put them in the dryer. Luckily we had enough lingerie bags, so I put one in each bag and I put it on low heat and I let it run for the longest cycle that we have on our machine. They were still damp. So my mom suggested throwing a towel in there on a higher heat. So I did that. I put in a towel and I put it on the highest heat it could go, and they still came out damp in some places. They came out damp mostly in the places where they were tied so that they wouldn't, unravel and get tangled. So let me show you what they look like. I did flip the yarn over, and like you saw in the last clip, rinsing them out, they didn't quite look like they used to. I regret flipping them over. I almost didn't do it, and I really wish I hadn't, because there were pools of dye at the bottom of the pans, and flipping them over, I thought, even if it does soak it up a little bit, I'm going to be rinsing them in a few hours. Hopefully that'll rinse out because it has already taken as much dye as it can. So I lost some of the colors. This one, you can see I lost basically all of that tangerine, and the tangerine didn't wash out as golden yellow as it did on the t-shirt. They still feel kind of damp, and I just spent some time hitting them with the hair dryer real close, like right up against the yarn, and I don't feel like waiting anymore. So this is one. I love the color. Like, don't get me wrong, I love the color. Some of it turned out more blue than I expected. So like this section here is the mint, and it looks just kind of pale blue. And I think this section is the green, and it kind of looks like a blue-green, but I honestly don't mind. Blue is not my favorite color. It used to be, and so I kind of try to distance myself from it sometimes, but it doesn't look bad. The tangerine looks kind of bad, at least on this one. I'll show you some other ones. And I really do think that the flip over that I did about 4 hours into them sitting really was a bad idea. Also, I should have learned my lesson from just making t-shirts, that the yarn sitting in the pools will make it look really bad, and that I should put them, either do it in the sink like I do with the t-shirts, or do it in the pan but have some kind of rack at the bottom. I like the pan for the dyeing of yarn because I can do all of them at the same time and try for them to be more consistent across all of the skeins. So if I ever dye yarn again, which I like doing it, so I probably will, but if I ever do, I have to have some kind of thing in the pans to lift them up off the bottom so that they don't sit in the pools of dye and they don't get muddied at all. Not that these got muddied, we did lose some of the colors. Mostly the lemonade, it's almost completely gone. It kind of blended in with the mint and the lime green. And the tangerine mostly got covered up by the green, since the green was the darkest green in this line of colors that I picked. But let's put them on the Swift and I can start to wind them up. And here they all are. They look really pretty wound up like this. I have no idea what I plan on crocheting with this. I kind of want to try and make like a short sleeve shirt maybe. I don't know how I would go about that. And it might have to be more like a mesh top because I don't think I would have enough to do like a full thing. I don't know, but here they all are. And thank you so much for watching. If you enjoy crochet, sewing, or any other kinds of crafts, please consider a follow. I upload every Sunday, and I hope to see you there. Bye.